Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I thank the witnesses for your testimony. And I would start with, as I listened to Mr. Cohen's opening remarks, he said that women have an undisputed right to abortion, close quote. And that caught my ear because I dispute that. I dispute the decision of Roe versus Wade and Doe versus Bolton. I dispute the rationale that they contrived to arrive at the decision that I think was preconceived, and then they created the legal rationale to get to their conclusion. And one of the rebuttals that I would offer for such a thing is that we know this: America was founded on the concept that our rights come from God. And when our rights come from God, how would it be possible that those rights would confer a right to kill a baby? And so I pose that question for deliberation, and I hope a lot of people across this country begin to think about the sacred nature of human life and about the moment that life begins. This right to choose being well settled is also a component of that opening statement, with which I disagree. It is not well settled. It has been a fight for 43 years, and it'll be a fight until it's over. But what we're seeing is 4D ultrasound, science expanding, watching babies move, burp, laugh, react to outside stimuli in the womb. The personalities that one can discern by seeing the ultrasound. I have a staff person in my Sioux City office, and I'll give you his name. He's State Senator Bill Anderson. On his bookcase, he has framed the ultrasound of his firstborn, and he knew he was a father when he saw that. I would turn first to Ms. Plaster, and you gave us some valuable data, I believe. And some of this data, I would ask this question: of the roughly, and I don't remember the number you gave us, but roughly 60 million abortions have been committed in this country since the Roe versus Wade. We're in that zone. If you have a more precise number, I'm happy to hear it. But I wanted to ask you, what percentage of those abortions were black babies?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I do think I have I think it's closer to about 55, 56 million abortions now since Roe v. Wade was decided. And to your question about how many of those, I can't say that I have it in front of me right at this moment, but I would be happy to easily look that up and provide it to the subcommittee. I
would ask you into the record if you would provide that information to this committee. Thank you. How soon do you think you could do that?
Today.
That would be excellent. And would your estimation be that if the black population is 12 to 13% of the overall U.S. population, would you expect that percentage of black abortions would be greater or lesser than the representation in the overall population?
Thank you. Studies have shown that it is greater, according to the CDC, and Guttmacher Institute has even more accurate information because the abortion centers give their information directly to Guttmacher. Many states do not have a mandatory law to submit abortion records to the CDC or their state health department. So according to Guttmacher, yes, it is African Americans are disproportionately represented in the abortions.
Would you have any idea why that's not being called genocide by the black community?
Thankfully, I know that there are good pro-life organizations, good pro-life black organizations that are calling attention to this. And I know that, for instance, Ryan Baumberger has done a great job in calling attention to this as genocide.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, if one were to be there at the delivery of a litter of puppies, and as a puppy was partially delivered, took a device and either crushed the skull or sucked the brains out of that baby puppy, would you be committing a crime in most states?
Hello. I couldn't speak to what's considered a crime with puppies.
If I ask you to research that and come back to this panel with a response in the fashion that Ms. Plaster has promised, could you do that? Would you do that? I know you could do that. Would you?
I could, and I could also talk to you about the research and the anecdotal information I have about Black communities.
But, and I think that's valuable information.
I
not
would
the
love
subject,
to talk
not the
about Black
subject of this
communities,
hearing.
if you'd like me
But I'm
to.
asking you a specific question. Would you deliver that information to me? I've asked you if you believe that that would be committing a crime in the several states, and I'm going to ask you to answer this formally back to this committee. But I will tell you the answer, and the answer is yes, it would be. And the contrast is, as it stands, as you are advocating, you cannot do to a puppy what is now currently legal to do in America to a baby created in the image of God. And that's the center of this topic here today. I thank all the witnesses, and I yield back the balance of my time.